Hi, everyone. You're watching episode 51 of Yield TV. Feel like my wave had a little extra enthusiasm today. That's what happens when Bitcoin goes to 23,000 and Ether's at like $660. So hey, we're all happy. We're having a great day. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today is Thursday, December 17th, 2020. We're going to be interviewing James Simpson, who is the founder of mStable. It's a very popular stablecoin application. It really, a part of the value we're going to talk about today is their Meta-Stablecoin. One of the things I've really loved about it, having used it quite a bit since they launched, is just that it's really easy to use to earn with stable coins. And while we all sort of lose our minds mining fruit coins and chasing yield and going after the 1,000% APY, I've always found this is one of those blue chip applications that's much easier to earn with. So on that note, James, welcome to Yield TV. How are you doing?
Really well, thanks. Thanks, DeFi Dad, for having us on. I'm really excited to go into the details of mStable and chat about DeFi. I've watched Yield TV and yeah, love
Right?
all the work you do to support the ecosystem. So yeah, it's great to be here.
I appreciate that. You watch every episode, right? You've watched all
every single one.
episodes. Yeah, of course. Yeah. People
Your
watch
biggest fan.
They go to sleep. Yeah. It's great to finally talk because it's funny. I've used mStable so much. I've done quite a few tutorials, so this will be fun today. Like this is definitely an app. Like I think I can navigate every detail of it. So for anyone that's new to mStable, we're gonna show you what exists today, and then also what's coming with a V2 version or V2 of what is the save function. And we'll also talk a bit about the liquidity farming programs that are already there. Again, a lot of it is really straightforward. So I find this is a much friendlier topic for those that are newer to the space, as well as those who are veterans. But James, maybe we should start with your background. Can you tell us more about what were you doing before mStable? When did you found mStable? I'm always curious to learn how long you've been building this.
Yeah, for sure. So I studied economics and politics at university, and it was really there that I kind of got into Bitcoin through a friend of mine. Started kind of being interested in the politics and the economics behind Bitcoin. Why was it interesting? All of those questions. Then I had a brief stint in management consulting. Worked in China and then in Australia after that. Wasn't so much fun. So in the background, I was always kind of reading about crypto and wanting to work in it. And then happily, 2017, a lot of capital entered the market, and I was able to secure a job at a multi-strategy crypto hedge fund in Australia called Apollo Capital. And it was there I worked under Henrik Anderson, who is the founder of D-Hedge as well.
Wow. Okay, yeah. There's another connection there. Yeah, that's so.
Yeah. Exactly. So he and I worked together for about 12, 18 months, and it was there we were using stable coins a lot, and we realized that there are a bunch of things that could be really improved, and mStable kind of grew out of that personal need from working at the fund, and then we started mStable kind of May 2019. So it was actually quite a while ago, and it was a bit of a bear market in crypto. DeFi wasn't even really a thing back then. So it was kind of a long slog of building, iterating on the product, seeing what people wanted, and then we launched midway through 2020, and we now have lots of users, and we're kind of happy with our progress so far, but certainly 2021 is going to be a huge year for us, and I'm looking forward to kind of going through some of the stuff that we're working on.
James, can you tell us more about like what prompted you to create mStable? I guess what was the problem that you were setting out to solve that you thought the market hadn't addressed yet?
Sure. So I think there are a few problems. One is yield. So before Compound, really, people used to just have all crypto assets in their wallet and they would do nothing. And with stablecoins, it was even more interesting because most of them, like Tether or TUSD, USDC, were backed by US dollars in a bank account that were earning a yield, but that yield wasn't passed on to the stablecoin holder. So I thought that was kind of an interesting dynamic that wouldn't last forever. So we wanted to kind of create a stablecoin that had a native yield. And when we were building this, interest rates globally were becoming really, really low, sometimes negative, and usually close to zero. So we wanted to use DeFi and leverage these new financial protocols to actually get an outsized yield. So give stablecoin holders, like, how do we make a stablecoin that has a native yield that's even better than anything you can get in the traditional financial world? So that was one kind of big problem that we wanted to solve. The second one was this idea of risk. So when you hold a stablecoin, whether you like it or not, you're exposed entirely to that system. And this is a very experimental area. So if you're happy with that, that's fine. But if you hold all your money in SUSD, you're fully exposed to synthetics. If you hold all your money in DAI, you're fully exposed to Maker. If you hold your money in USDT, then Tether, whatever happens from a regulatory perspective, you're exposed to that. So we think that a kind of a risk minimized, diversified exposure to stablecoins is helpful. And then the last thing we wanted to do is kind of create a kind of meta-stablecoin where you can bake in lots of other use cases, which we can walk through later on. But they were kind of the main reasons why we made mStable.
Yeah, I think as we talk through mStable too, we'll be able to highlight this. But any major differences to call out between like the Meta-Stablecoin that is MUSD versus trying to think of like what are others that are out there? Or actually, I'll let you answer that. Like any like major differences though to call out about your Meta-Stablecoin?
Yeah, I mean, Meta-Stablecoin isn't really an area that a lot of people are working on specifically. You see kind of Meta-Stablecoins in LP tokens, so like a Curve LP token or like a YN, stablecoin. These are kind of Meta-Stablecoins in some senses. And I suppose, you know, if you compare mStable to these products, they're kind of different in the way that they earn yield, and they're different in terms of their risk profile. So the way that we earn yield in mStable is done in a way that kind of tries to reduce risk but optimize yield. We've kind of sat between 10 and 20%, but we don't do kind of crazy yield farming strategies to get that. When you look under the hood, it's actually just lending assets onto Compound and Aave, and then using our own internal revenue to boost that yield. The Curve and the Wi-Fi's are, first of all, I'm not sure if the yield is that high, just in terms of the US dollar, pure US dollar, if the yield farming wasn't taken into account. And then the second thing is, I think there's a different risk profile with the.
Yeah. These things go technical. Like, and by the way, like we're just calling out differences here. Like, there's pros and cons to all of these, and that's why I've used mStable, I've used Curve, I use Yearn, and cleverly enough, you all have like worked together. There's a Curve MUSD pool now, but one of the things that I think a lot of people don't understand, and I'm hoping I have this correct about MUSD, is if one of the stable coins failed in MUSD, like the other stable coins are unaffected, right? Like these are all one-to-one. Like if we could start screen sharing any time here with this just because it's relevant. But if I were going to mint the Meta stablecoin MUSD, if I put in, let's say, Tether, it's one-to-one. If I put in DAI, it's one-to-one. So anyways, we all have talked about this like, terrible black swan event that hasn't happened, but we all are like, it would be the absolute worst thing for a stable coin to truly go to zero. If one did go to zero and we were in a liquidity pool like Curve, or if you're in like a balancer pool, the whole pool can then go to zero eventually, unless some saving grace comes in. But with the way that this is set up, I think about it as like I'm truly hedged against that by holding MUSD.
Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of comes to the crux of what we're trying to build, which is an interest rate that has the best risk-adjusted yield.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to get the highest possible yield, but we want people to, and we want consumers to use this product, right? We want people on the street to be eventually using MUSD, and MUSD kind of just being a wrapper for the stablecoin ecosystem, but a wrapper that does really consider the edge case risks. So perhaps not getting the kind of 30% yields, but nobody really is actually demanding a 30% yield in the real world. People would really be happy with a 5% yield. So we think that it's better to kind of just aim to have a really good yield comparatively to the outside world. Make sure that stablecoin is that wrapper for the stablecoin ecosystem is built with kind of edge cases in mind, and then I think consumer-facing applications will be more happy to integrate it and give it to consumers.
Yeah,
so that's how we think about it. Yeah.
Just to give some context, I mean, the rate which we could show today is I think you can be earning about, it's 19.76% APY as of today, which is an average daily APY over the last 7 days. Yeah, I tend to monitor this, like, just because I have some money in there and I'm checking it to see like where the rates are. And I mean, it's pretty nuts how it has sustained at a higher rate like this MUSD native interest rate. And I think the point that you've made there is that despite the fact that you and I and many of us have become accustomed to knowing that there's lots of opportunities in DeFi, and even for those of us, when you're building an application, it's hard not to be interested and pay attention to all these new apps, to see some of the insane APYs that you can earn with these different applications. But at the end of the day, I am very interested to see like what rates can sustain, and to see like 20% on a stable coin, like that's great, because I'm comparing it to the 0.01% with Bank of America for those of us in the United States. And I'm not sure what folks are earning in other parts of the world, but it's nothing. It can't even keep up with reasonable 2% inflation. So anyways, this is the sort of stuff I tend to show my friends and family, and kind of brag about, like, check this out. Like I've got digital dollars and they're earning 20% APY.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, this is right. This is the save page on our app. So you can see that you mint MUSD by just depositing any of these whitelisted stablecoins, and then that's the basket here, the TVL, the MUSD supply there, and you can then, when you have MUSD, and you either mint it on that page, or you can buy it on Balancer or Uniswap or Curve, you can then deposit it into this savings account. And you can see that the average APY of the last 7 days is about 20%. And the reason why we can actually secure that APY is because of this incredible capital efficiency that DeFi offers. So with a Meta-Stablecoin, you have a right to redeem kind of the real stablecoin, and that right actually means that Meta-Stablecoin is priced at $1 because there's an arbitrage loop. And what we can do is then actually put that capital, that deposited capital, to work for you as a holder of MUSD. And what happens when you deposit onto the mint page here is that these stablecoins are programmatically sent to Compound and Aave, and they just have a base yield from that. But additionally, mStable actually offers an AMM style swap product. So simultaneously, the capital is lent out, and the protocol allows those very same stable coins to be swapped. And the protocol earns fees from that. So this is kind of like a little yield hack that I think the traditional world hasn't really woken up to, is that we can actually get an interest rate not only from lending income, but also from trading fees.
Yep.
And that's kind of actually a really amazing thing about having multiple pegged assets. So people say it's actually a fault of their DeFi by having like 5 different stable coins. In this way, it's actually a really cool thing because you can actually hack a yield through creating a swap product that supplements that savings yield. So that's kind of the main reason why we're able to produce this yield. We're going to go into the new savings product that's up for a vote now, and we hope that the MTA governors will pass it. But there's even more capital efficiency that we're trying to embed into this product to produce that an even higher yield, but still keep the risk weights at an acceptable level.
James, to call out a few of the points you made then. So if I am holding MUSD, I mean, there's a certain value we talked about. I'm holding a Meta-Stablecoin. I'm holding something that in this case is redeemable 1-to-1 for any of the underlying tokens that make up MUSD. But then when we talk about this save function, if I save my MUSD, which I don't know if staking is a term that should ever be used, but whatever, it's kind of like that. If I save my MUSD, I'm earning from that swap. I'm also earning from the underlying tokens being lent and earning interest. So this to me is this is yield farming classic. This is stacking different ways of earning into a very symbiotic relationship underlying the application. Lending interest plus trading fees is a great way to put your stable coins to work. Is there anything else here that I'm earning other than the lending interest plus the trading fees?
Yeah, so there are a few things that are right now, and a few things that are going to come a bit later. So we also have a dynamic because MUSD is a stable coin. Some people use it as a medium of exchange. So they have it in their wallet, and they just have it just like DAI in your wallet. But of course, that MUSD is backed by assets that are earning interest. So less than 100% of MUSD is in the savings account. So that means that, say, only half of the MUSD is in the savings account, you're earning double. So that it kind of leverages it up even more. So say only half is here, but 100% would be in, it would be 10% APY. So that's one dynamic that is really beneficial to savers. The other one is that we've actually built a liquidator. So any farm token, so comp and Aave, that the protocol farms, it's actually automatically liquidated on kind of like a limit. It's limited how much is liquidated each week. It's kind of controlled by the protocol. But that's converted into MUSD and given to savers. So that's another dynamic. The thing that I'm really excited about is that if this save proposal comes through, we can actually right now the MUSD in the save contract is doing nothing. But of course, it's a Meta-Stablecoin, right?
Right.
So we can actually use those stable coins that are deposited to work as well. So say that there was an Aave market. There isn't at the moment, but we hope there to be an Aave market for MUSD. As a saver, you can be earning yield on the, say, DAI, USDT, USDC, etc. That's behind MUSD, plus all of the swap volume that the protocol generates, plus the interest of lending MUSD. So you've stacked 3 years plus liquidated farm tokens. So you can see this kind of amazing capital efficiency that can be created by creating a Meta-Stablecoin. And the thing with mStable is that users are the beneficiaries of this. There isn't any kind of intermediary. There isn't anything that's taking that yield. You're just getting everything. So hopefully that'll even increase the yield even more. And we don't think it doesn't change the integrity of MUSD in terms of from a security point of view.
So currently, whether I minted MUSD or whether I could trade for it, just so everyone's aware, there's a lot of liquidity out there for MUSD. Like you could go to a DEX aggregator like Zapper Exchange. Actually, should be flashing these to remind people they can use that.
Yeah, you can go here.
There we go. Yeah. So you can swap for it there, or if you mint it, then that save function that we were showing. Once you save that, the what's happening now is that I'm earning, but I'm not able to. I don't have a token from that, which is kind of it's some of the magic that has happened with lots of other ways to earn, in DeFi. And so this is, you could say it's almost been like a missing piece of the puzzle based on, like, I guess, the way that we're all operating in DeFi. So this would be great. Like it'll be an interest earning form of MUSD. Is there a name that's been picked out already? Like an IMUSD, something like that will then.
Yeah, that's exactly the name. So right now in the savings account, you don't get a token when you deposit, but with this new proposal it'll be out in January, users in that savings account will be able to get an IMUSD token, which is a token that it kind of works like a C token, except it's going to be a stable coin with hopefully something like a 10 or 20% yield, which is what we've been averaging since launch about 6 months ago. So if we can generate that same yield, I think users will find this a pretty attractive piece of collateral to use throughout DeFi. You can just sit there playing on your protocols, lending on Compound or Aave. You can be, on DYDX, using margin products or derivative products. And just as your collateral, you're sitting there with stable coins. You're not worried about being liquidated or the price moving too much. You're actually just earning a really good yield. So hopefully people will find that pretty attractive, a pretty attractive proposition.
Yeah, and these are the sorts of things too that we want to empower any user to do on Zapper. So if this save v2 function gets voted through, this is something that I think we're going to be aiming to support. Just it probably will end up being a Zap where maybe you go from like a DAI and then you end up with that interest earning MUSD. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes open for that. This is the sort of stuff that I want to say, like, this is simpler. Everything with stable coins, like maybe the more professional DeFi traders or yield farmers, again, like, I think we take it for granted because there's this habit of just chasing higher and higher yields. Well, this is a very niche group of people. Most of the world is, in a pretty shit place right now. They're not able to earn with their money in a bank, and they don't necessarily know about this. But these are the sorts of applications I think that really kind of take us more mainstream. So, I just, yeah.
We certainly hope the professional traders use this, particularly as their collateral choice. So there's definitely anyone who wants to earn a really great yield, but hopefully people who are just using these DeFi protocols and kind of want a risk minimized stable asset that earns a 10-20% yield, hopefully they see this as attractive as well. And of course we're launching our MBTC asset as well early next year. So
interesting. That will be like kind of like it'll be another pool with tokenized Bitcoin.
Exactly, and we're actually launching that with our new AMM. So we have we've actually built our own AMM. So right now it's what's called a constant sum market maker. But what we've built is a new type of AMM that will. Sorry, my screen's going black and white.
Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, you're all good.
So we've designed a kind of completely new form of AMM, which will actually price the asset somewhat. So it'll mean that there'll be guaranteed liquidity in every underlying asset in the Bitcoin one. So it means that if you hold MUSD, you know that you can definitely redeem RenBTC or WBTC or TBTC. So we're really excited about that as well.
That's really cool. And the demand is insane right now for that, because there is I think there's well, there's more than 3 billion probably in tokenized Bitcoin now on Ethereum because the price has gone up so much. So let me see here.
Yeah.
If I go to BTC on Ethereum.com, it's a free website. Anyone can see the stats on chain of how much tokenized Bitcoin there is. I'll let that load. James, one other thing to point out is as we were talking about like newbies versus pros using mStable. One thing I use, I always have stable coins, and I especially have stable coins to later pay taxes. So money that I set aside, like I really love to put it to work. I don't want it to just sit there, especially with like opportunities like this. So I don't know if you're setting aside stable coins, and of course you assume the risk that one thing we all mitigate, but we can never avoid is smart contract risk. But other than that, for me, like that's my main concern is a smart contract bug. And then in that case, you can buy Nexus or Cover. Actually, does Cover mStable yet? I don't think so.
I don't think it does, but I can kind of go through some of the ways that we're, as a protocol, minimizing users' risks, if that's interesting.
That'd be great. That, and also I don't want to miss the LP rewards. That was one of the other things that we can cover. There's quite a few programs you guys have there still.
Yeah, for sure. So right now, if a stablecoin loses its peg completely, if you hold MUSD, you won't be exposed. You'll be protected. And that's what we do through a system of max weights. So you can only have a maximum amount of an asset in the basket. But what we're doing next year, and we'll be proposing this to Meta holders, and Meta is our protocol token, is what we call recollateralization. So there'll be the stakers who stake Meta, the protocol token. They govern the protocol already, but what we're proposing is that Meta is a part of Meta that's staked will actually be used as an insurance pool in the event of one of these assets failing. So not only will mStable cap risk, but it'll also insure against it. So even if, say, USDT, for whatever reason, there's a huge regulatory mess up, or one of the major stablecoin protocols fails for whatever reason, there's a huge hack or whatever, mStable, we've designed it to make sure that the MUSD holder actually doesn't even notice that something's happened. So we're really excited about that, and that'll also affect the tokenomics of Meta, because I think we believe that if Meta takes on more risk to ensure the system, they should be compensated for that in some way. So we're thinking about really interesting ways to incentivize people with Meta to stake and secure the system.
It's funny. I remember learning about that early on, and I hadn't thought about that in a long time. But yeah, that idea of like an insurance fund is becoming a standard. But I think it's something that I remember you all talking about, and then Aave, when they started to architect V2, like it seems it's a great move. At the end of the day, like we'll see DeFi insurance grow, but I think it instills confidence to see a fund growing that could help to compensate for any sort of like losses on the platform. Actually, James, one thing that's like super easy to highlight is I forgot how much total value locked is there in mStable now.
I haven't checked recently, but I think, or at least today, but I think there's about 30 million or 28 to 30 million.
These are the numbers, like just over the these numbers have just grown so much. Like a year ago, we would have been like, whoa, 30 million. And now it's like, okay, like this is, you guys are growing quickly, but like there's lots more room to grow there. And yeah, it's exciting times.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, we reached a height of about 70 million locked in that kind of really crazy period of DeFi a couple of months ago. I think our baseline number of users is really great. I think there's a whole heap of people who just love to use the product because it's really simple and it's, it does what it says on the tin, gives you potentially one of the best US dollar yields in the world, pure US dollar yields.
I think the notifications actually, I like, since I had ever first used it, that's something I wish was clear on other DeFi applications. So you get like a little notification up in the top right. Like it reduces, I think Matt Cutler at Block Native called it transaction anxiety, which is exactly what happens when you submit something and you don't know whether the transaction's confirmed. And I'm especially thinking about those who aren't like as familiar with going to Etherscan and understanding like my gas price is too low. Like we have to compensate for those that are going to be newer to the space and just mindlessly clicking MetaMask or another wallet. So I think you guys have done a great job with that.
Yeah, we know the Block Native guys and Matt, certainly was in mind when we were building these kind of notifications, because I think some users get a bit confused when they're waiting, and they don't exactly know what's going on. So we try to minimize that.
Oh my gosh, that guy has a very large brain inside of his head. Man, there's just so much he has to share about the mempool, and he kind of plays it off humbly, like oh shucks, like I think this is how it works. And I'm like, Matt, I think you know more than most of us about how this works. So love
Definitely.
Matt. Yeah. James, could we screen share the LP rewards? Like I just want to make sure if anyone is holding stable coins, there's a few opportunities there just with that. And then also if you hold MTA, I mean, there's some like no-brainer programs there as well. Oh, here we go.
So this is what we call earn, and our earn pools are designed to create liquidity for MUSD and also to distribute our governance token so that people who have MUSD are able to earn Meta, which governs their protocol. So we're kind of combining utility. So if you are additive to the system and then contribute to our liquidity, then you earn Meta and then you can govern. And I should say that the next version of Save, we propose that savers will also receive have the option to receive Meta as well for saving. So that'll increase the yield again, and it means that really this is a collective user-driven protocol, and anyone can submit proposals, and anyone with Meta can stake and then vote to implement changes on the protocol. So that's the kind of cool thing that we can do in DeFi, right? And to go through the pools, we have a pool in Curve. So there's about 2 million MUSD in Curve, and you can trade really easily and efficiently into other stable coins using Curve. Right now, the yield is about 23%, and that is from MTA, and it's also from Curve rewards. The second one is a balancer pool, which has USDC MUSD, about a 15% yield on that one. Uniswap LPs are 68.35% yield. And going down this, it seems like the graph, our sub-graph is taking a bit of a while to load.
We've all been there. Yeah, is that through the graph?
This is through. We love the graph.
We love the graph too. It's just we'll look back on this years from now and say, wow, like it's crazy how patient we all had to be at the time.
Exactly.
I want to call out here the fact that those top two programs, those are, so the 3 pool I think is still something a lot of people don't fully understand in Curve, but it's like a meta pool with lots of different stable coins. And so I'm just dumbing it down there. So when you participate in this one or the other like top liquidity mining program there on mStable, I mean, you're only holding exposure to stable coins. And so these are really, I think, great opportunities for newbies to be able to check out. or newcomers to the DeFi space, anytime I can hold like assets or just basically just hold stable coins, I don't have to worry about impermanent loss, or at least it's so minimal that I don't have to worry about it. The bottom three, just in case anyone's newer, just be aware, like MTA is the governance token for mStable. So this isn't pegged to $1, and just if you haven't learned about impermanent loss, make sure you do that. But otherwise, obviously, there's rewards to earn there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think you have to definitely do your research. We don't market these products as kind of a way to kind of earn the best yield. Users must always, use these products, and they have their own risks.
Yeah.
No yield is guaranteed. Really, what we want people to do is to contribute to the mStable ecosystem, and then in this early phase of growth where they can receive Meta, right, for being early contributors, and then they can now govern the protocol, and there'll be a whole heap of amazing things that we come up with, and Meta will drive kind of value to Meta in a bunch of different ways. So it's really for early users, this product. So looking forward to having that, and soon you'll also see a what we call the deposit box, which will be for users who have the new IMUSD or IMBTC token, that they can also earn Meta on top of this USD APY. So that'll be released in January. So keep an eye out for that for sure.
Yeah, I missed that earlier. So January is when the MBTC would be released.
So January, we have the new Save contract. This is all assuming that the governance passes it. But our Save contract will come out, and so there'll be a tokenized MUSD Save. So you can use it all over DeFi, and hopefully it'll be on via Zap on zapper.fi and elsewhere. And then later in the month, we will be having our new AMM, which is just here. Actually, I can show you. This is the MIP proposal of the MBTC, and it's a new AMM based design. So this is a completely novel mechanism. This is our invariant. So if you've got to be really good at maths to read that, to understand that, but it's quite a technical improvement to the project. But really, it's a new form of AMM with a Meta-Stablecoin inextricably linked to it. It's a Meta-Stable AMM, which is new, and we're really excited about having that.
James, that MBTC, so will the pool have wrapped BTC, Ren BTC, SBTC? What makes up MBTC if this all goes through?
Yeah, so it'll most likely be WBTC, Ren BTC, and SBTC at launch. And again, there'll be a savings. There'll be an IMBTC, so there'll be a savings Bitcoin asset. So we're really excited for that to come out, because it'll mean that people will be able to trade their BTC assets really efficiently on mStable. They'll be able to hold a savings interest-earning Bitcoin asset and use that across DeFi. So it's a big kind of roadmap item for us, and obviously Bitcoin is just going crazy at the moment. So we're definitely gonna. We're really excited to kind of get the Bitcoin community also involved in mStable's products.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a lot of crypto native users there that I think will unexpectedly find a home here with DeFi on Ethereum. There's so much there to unlock. We don't have to go into this if this is going to get too much into the math of it, but in the future, if MBTC is implemented, the three underlying tokens we were just talking about there, are they all 1-to-1 in the pool, or is there more math behind like how much SBTC there will be versus WBTC and Ren BTC?
Yeah, so I can actually show you quickly. the bottom line is that our new AMM, it won't be 1-to-1 anymore. It'll be there'll be a price. So there'll be a 1-to-1 threshold. So there'll be it's kind of all about AMM, so it's a bit technical.
Don't worry. That alone is, I think that's the key takeaway many of us at least will understand. Just because that one nature is what was unique to me and what I understood was different with MUSD.
Yeah, so I can show you for the kind of technical users out there. I can show you a visualization of our new bonding curve with 3 assets. So this is the bonding curve that we created. The 1-to-1 is actually called a constant sum market maker, but we're calling this an incentivized constant sum market maker because there will be guaranteed liquidity in each one. So we won't see the whole thing, but I'll just skip through it. That's the bonding surface there, and essentially what this means is that each asset will have its own price, and it is. It's a new form of AMM that doesn't exist yet, and we think from our modeling, it'll be create really good prices, very very low slippage, and has the M asset attached to it. So
you could also list that on Super Rare, and I'm pretty sure it would sell for 1 ETH as digital art. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a good.
Just don't say anything about the bonding curve, or you could even title it. I'm pretty sure it'll sell for 1 ETH with what prices are going for on Super Rare.
We actually have V1, V2 T-shirts every year in the mStable team. So our V2 T-shirt next year has the new bonding curve on the back of it. A bit nerdy.
But awesome. There you go. Is there anything else on the roadmap you think that we should cover? I feel like we got the 2 major milestones that we can look forward to with Save V2 and MBTC.
So the main thing is that there'll be a token for Save. So you can hopefully have that 20% yield tokenized and use it all throughout DeFi. The second thing is that we're reducing our gas on mStable by about 70%. So transactions are going to be a lot cheaper. So that's going to be really good for the standard users.
That is
the
really
AMM. The AMM is changing. So the trades will be more efficient, and you'll be guaranteed to have liquidity if you hold our mStable assets in the underlying assets. MBTC is coming out as well. So a new M asset. And then finally, the tokenomics of Meta will be significantly changed in the next 2 to 3 months. So hopefully adding kind of an insurance primitive and also that kind of recollateralization thing that I mentioned. So this is all happening in the next three months. So there's a lot going on, and then and obviously just there's BD stuff that we're thinking about. But yeah, that's pretty much a summary of what we're working on.
I think as one final question unrelated to mStable, what else is interesting to you in DeFi? What are you most excited about right now? Because this has been, and again, we're throwing aside, like, obviously you're most excited about mStable, but always curious, like, what builders and founders like you are paying attention to, or also maybe there's a project out there that you think should be getting more attention.
Yeah, so I think generally the idea of composable yield is really interesting. I think a lot of projects are working on different ways to cut yield. So we're seeing more kind of fixed interest projects. We're seeing projects that kind of delve deeper into that whole yielding fixed income world. So I think there's going to be a huge growth in those kind of products. I think Benchmark is an early project in that world. I would say also the decentralized asset management space is really interesting. So obviously Set pioneered that, but the co-founder at mStable, Henrik Anderson, is a founder of DHedge, who I worked with in Australia, and that's a decentralized asset management protocol. Really interesting to see that kind of on-chain permissionless fund management. So anyone in the world can just put their money into a fund, and it doesn't matter who you are. You can be a fund manager. It's all about performance. So you can be a 9-year-old kid in the middle of nowhere, but actually just have the best yields. So everyone uses you. So I think that's kind of pretty cool in terms of accessibility. So yeah, they're kind of the main things I'm excited about at the moment. But I think we're just at the beginning as well. So it'll be cool to see some institutional players come in and start using these products because I think with that inflow of capital, we're at 16 billion now, but when we're at 100 billion, the kind of financial products that can be built and the kind of mind share that this sector can have will mean that we can just accelerate the innovation way faster than it's already going. And I feel like it's already going fast, but yeah, I think there's going to be a kind of an inflection point where a huge amount of capital comes in, and then DeFi really comes into its own. And not only are we replicating financial products that exist in the traditional world, but we're actually really creating vastly new ones. And that's kind of more of a long-term thing, but that's what I'm excited about in the next 5-10 years.
Really cool. Yeah, I definitely just learned, I guess, something about DHedge from you. I knew the name, and I want to say, when I briefly checked it out, DHedge is built with synthetics, right? Or am I
Yeah, so I mean, I'm I was a seed investor, but I really don't know much like that. I'm not that involved in it, but essentially, yeah, it's a decentralized asset management protocol built on synthetics. So you can trade all the synthetic assets. You can be a fund manager, and you can trade all the synthetic assets, and then other people can invest in your fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, in a way, you were mentioning token sets earlier, or set protocol. It kind of reminds me of that, like the social trader aspect, but one or a team could be running a fund there, and then you can buy exposure into it. Basically, your funds will mirror the performance of what trading strategy they're using. That is really
exactly.
wow.
Yeah. So So it's kind of like the social traders, exactly, except using synthetics.
Very cool. Always learning something from.
Yeah.
I love just asking people what they're paying attention to. But it's really interesting. As founders, I know your time's super limited, and it's an overwhelming 24/7 job. You guys you wake up to a Discord that's exploding with questions, for better or worse, and then meanwhile you're supposed to be building the next version of the protocol, and then you have to be a protocol politician. It's just nuts, but it's really cool to see. James, anything else that you wanted to cover today, or you think folks should know about mStable? I want to remind them that they can learn more and actually try mStable at mstable.org. It's app.mstable.org, but you'll see the little button there on their website. You should follow mStable on Twitter. I failed to put in your own Twitter account here, but I think it was J Ronism or something like that.
yeah. J Ron Sim is my personal one, but following the mStable account is good.
Yeah.
No, but no, there's not really much else that I need to say today. I think hopefully people can check out mStable, start participating in our earn pools or our new save product, dive into the governance. We're kind of heads down at the moment building, because the next 3 months the product will be kind of look a lot different to what it is today. Hopefully we can kind of maybe do this again, and I can show you MBTC, the new AMM, the new savings account, all that kind of stuff.
That's what I was going to say.
That's all happening in the next 2-3 months.
Yeah, when this goes live, eventually, I think the Save V2 will definitely be a zap. So that'll be something cool we can show off. But yeah, you got to come back for sure with the MBTC stuff. Will be huge. Like that, I would think. Right now, again, you guys have had impressive traction already. But I do think that MBTC being implemented is going to bring a lot more liquidity into mStable. So anyways, good luck building right now and just getting that through with the DAO. And yeah, man, congrats on everything. Just really admire what you guys have built. And I'm always excited to tell family and friends and newcomers about mStable, just because I think it's a really easy DeFi app to use. And James, if you hang out a moment, I'm just going to close out the broadcast here. So I just want to remind everyone that tomorrow we will not be hosting an episode, but we will be back on Monday, December 21st. We'll have Amadeo Brands, who's a great educator in DeFi. He's got a YouTube channel you should check out. Does really great work there. And we'll also have Victor from Spendless, which is a newer DeFi application. It has some like no loss strategies built into it. So if you like pull together, like I think Spendless you'll find really interesting. And then we'll see next week. Like we're coming up on the holidays. I'm hesitant whether we should be hosting more episodes until then. But other than that, thanks so much for joining, James. And everyone, stay safe out there. I hope you are enjoying the all-time high prices in Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's, well, not Ether yet, but we'll get there. We're not there yet. So lots of room to still see number go up. But anyways, thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it.
Thanks, James.